Right, and this week we're going to do something a little bit different. Right then, as I said, this one's a little bit different. I know I've been doing a lot of bowls lately. But right, on the lathe I have a piece of Malaysian Acacia, right, and I actually have 3 of them the same, right, but the thing about these is they're mostly sapwood, and Malaysian Acacia sapwood is kind of a yellowy, it'd be white with kind of a yellowy tinge on it, right. First thing I got to do is round them off, get them ready for a chuck. And what I'm actually going to do is some napkin rings in a case, right? A few years ago, my nephew was doing his final exam for becoming a chef, and he needed Dave to do everything. Basically, Dave to do the presentation and everything, right? And he wanted a set of napkin rings that he could carry, right? So I designed these, right? They're quite simple to do. You can actually make the case as complicated as you want if you want it for display or something like that. I have a certain way of doing them because it's practical. I also need something else I also need something new for on the stall. So these are pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to round off the 3 of these, get them all ready for a chuck, and I'll come back when that's done. And then we can get on with it. Right then, I have the pieces all rounded off roughly, and first thing I'm going to do is the napkin rings themselves. So I need to square off that piece, and then I need to measure out segments of 1 inch, and I need 6 of them. But what I want to do first is I want to reduce that size down. Now, you can do this with a spew if you so wish. My preference is to use the continental spindle gouges because, to be honest, I like using them. Now, there's been some debate about what size a napkin ring should be. That is a matter of your opinion. Sorry, I bumped the camera there. As I said, I'm trying out these new mounts, and I'm not used to them yet. Now, what I want to do is I want to sand that, but I don't want to finish it yet. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. It won't take long. And then, as I said, that didn't take long at all. Right, and it's very pretty wood. Right. So what I want, as I said, is inch long pieces, inch wide pieces. Right. 1, 2, 3. Hang on, something on there. That was slightly off. 3. 4. 5. 6. 6. Right then, that one looks a bit long to me. It is slightly. That's the one that's throwing me eye up. I'll just mark that there and cut that off. Put that down, because it's not right. There we go, that's better. Right. Now with the narrow parting tool, I'm going to score into all of these. Right. Now, you can get as fancy as you want here, right? You can burn lines into them, whatever you fancy. I am going to use that thing that I have there, Pretty Wood, simple shape. Right, and I'm just going to roll all the edges, because this is very pretty wood. Right, now I'm going to sand all those rolls that I just put in, and I'm going to put a finish on this part. So I'll do that and I'll be back in a second. Right then, just buffing the wax off, and this is very, very pretty wood. Like, I think I've explained this before, my theory on this, that if it's pretty wood it needs a simple shape, because you're not going to beat Mother Nature for pretty. And if it's basically dullish wood, you need to put a pretty shape into it. But with this, it's very, very pretty wood. Isn't that really nice? Right, now we get to separating these things away from each other. First thing I want to do is take that off. So get rid of that out of the way. Spin it up. And just gently nibble this away. Right, I want to do this quite easy. We'll do it with a gouge, so I can put the pressure going inwards. Because remember, there's a lot of leverage on this. Alright then, there we go. Now, what I want to do is get a fastener bit that will drill that out just nicely. That one is too big, so I'll go down one. That one is still a little big, so I'll go down another one. That one is just about right. Okay. Grab the chuck. The Jacob's chuck. Stick it in. Right, and now what I want to do is drill out the middle of this. while that's still attached, I want to sand this side, just here on this edge and inside there, so that it, to be honest, it's basically easier to do it like this when it's on, and it doesn't take a whole hell of a lot. Right. 50. That's it. Oops, sorry, I banged the camera there. So I said I'm still getting used to the positions of these things. It's the 240. And we're nice and smooth inside. Just have a look. Yeah, nice and clean and smooth inside. Now I'll finish drilling this piece out. Sometimes they pop off. Sometimes you have to cut them. A little fast because I'm getting smoke. Probably through that first one, so back it off and separate it off with the narrow parting tool again. Right, and there you have one ring separated. Right, now I'll show you how to sort out that part in a minute. Right, now I'm just going to do the same thing for the next lot, so there's no sense in you watching me doing that. So I'll separate them all out and I'll be back when it's done. Right, now just parting off the last one. Now, that piece of wood, leave it there. Right, you're going to turn it into a jam chuck. Right. But a jam chuck with a depth stop. Rubber ring, check, still too big. So you're going to turn this into a jam chuck with a depth stop. Another tiny bit. Right. Now it's nearly there, so what I like to do is kind of tilt it a little bit to make sure it's a good fit. That's too tight, that'll split the ring. That's one thing you got to be careful of. Remember the way the grain is running in these. There we go. And now I have that. Now I just got to clean up those sides. And the simplest way of doing that is with sandpaper. Right, if you want to cut them, you can cut them. With a quick rub of a piece of sandpaper, we'll do it just nicely. These are slightly off, these rings, for some reason. But it doesn't really matter. Right, 240. And now, each time you do a ring on this, finish this side, flip it over, and then put the finish on the other side. This is probably the most time consuming part of doing these, is actually finishing them. Right, so we're nicely sanded. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish there and there, flip it over and finish the other sides as well. So there's no sense in you watching me do that, so I'll do that and I'll be back in a sec. Right, then just buffing the wax off the last one. That took a while. Right, it takes a while to get to do this part of this project. As I said, it's a simple project, but wouldn't describe it as quick, because you have to finish the inside and the outside of all of these little rings and do the same quality finish on the inside that you've done on the outside, because there's nothing worse than seeing somebody who's done shortcuts. Right, now we get on to the next bit of this, which is the case. Right, now the case, as I said, you can make them as fancy as you want or as simple as you want. I personally like simple, pretty wood, simple shape thing. Right, now what I want to do is pick out which one is the prettiest. That one is gorgeous. So that's the outside, this is the inside of the case. Right, so we get this locked in. Right, I actually think I'm bottoming out with that, so I'm going to just slice that off on the bandsaw. That's something you should always watch, is that the bottom of your tenon doesn't touch the jaws there, because if it does, it's not going to seat right. Stick that in to get it rounded. So that now then, I'm just going to get squared off here and get a decent cut on this so that I can put measurements onto it. Right, should do me just nicely. Now what I need to know is how tall are all of these rings when they're stacked up. So I'm just going to stack them up here, if I can. Right, grab a ruler, which I had a minute ago. There it is. And just double check that they are 6 inches will work just fine. They're slightly under 6 because of the cutting and the sanding, but 6 inches will do just fine. Excuse me. So 6 inches, so it will do just fine. I put my pencil in my pocket. I did. No, I didn't. Where did I put my pencil? I have no idea. Let's just grab another one. Right then, just grab another pencil, because I can't remember where I put that one. Right, from the top, 6 inches is there. Right. Now I want to cut in there a little bit to give myself a guide. Now what I want to do is I want to reduce this down to the interior diameter of a ring. So I'll grab calipers and measure it to above the size so that I can just nibble down to it. That's above the size. Alright then. Now I want to reduce that down as well to that size. Now I just want to join the two of them up. What's that sound? That sounds like a nail. There is a nail just there, I think. I don't know if it's a nail hole. No idea what that is. Doesn't need to be damaging the tool. It must just be a hard piece of wood. Yeah, it's just something hard in the wood because it's starting up here somewhere. That sound. Right, I'm just going to put an edge on this again. I think it's actually the heartwood that I'm hearing. Right, moving a little closer. Right, I'm going to check that for size. Too big, perfect. Right, now I'm going to nibble that down until that fits. But I don't want it too tight because remember that this is live wood. It will expand and contract, and one thing you don't want this to do is to expand enough to split the rings. So check that one. I want it to slide on easily over it. Still too big. There we go. It's just a little tight there in the centre, but right. Quick clean up cut on that will work perfectly. Now I want to square off that bottom. That should be smack on. A little tight just down there at the bottom. The rest of it is perfect. Just down there where I kept leaning outward so I wouldn't catch that base is still a little tight. So right, now I gotta get rid of that because that is what's causing it, that little tightness down there. Is that beautiful, perfect. All right, now that's not done yet. What I want to do now excuse me, what I want to do now is bring in a cut there that is just slightly bigger than a ring. That could be okay, but it could go slow. It could go smaller. And I want to make sure it's perfectly square. Yeah, that's just a little bit bigger than the ring. That's perfect. Right then, I want to take that piece off, and then I want to sand and finish that section. Right, and I want to roll that edge a little, just a little. It's more for the visual than anything else. Right then, now I'll sand and finish that piece. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. Right then, just buffing the wax off. Now something you may notice is I haven't put any finish down here, because down here is not done yet. That's just some that shine is just from some of the Yorkshire grit that happened to go over. But so down here is not finished. Right, so now all I gotta do is part that off. there's that piece. Right. Now what we've got to do is the rest of the last piece of the case. Right then. Same thing again, square it off, put a decent cut on it so I can put measurements on it, and we're off again. Right then. Now the overall height of this piece from there to there is, so now it's 6 inches, so we go 6 and it's a little over 6 inches, so we go 6.5 inches. Right. There. Right. Now then, the first thing I want to do with this is drill it. Right. So I'll take that off of there again. Now the fastener bit I'm looking for this time is one that is just bigger than the rings. Oh, look at that one. Not big enough. This one. That one is a possibility. Right, I think it's that one, although it might be a little tight. Right, I just want to grab those bits that fell off so I don't lose them in all the shavings that are down here. Where is it? There it is. No, I'll tell you, we'll go with that one. We'll go with that one. And I dropped it again. I'm not joking. I haven't had the time to clean up the shavings this week, so everything is kind of all over the place. Now, the one thing I have to watch here is, you see that there? I have to make sure that the drill bit I'm using is not wider than that. So I'll grab the calipers again. There we go. And that drill bit is just wider. So we can't use that one. So it will indeed be the one that's a size smaller. Right, I'm going to use this drill bit. Right, now I need to measure 6.5 inches from there down here and mark it. So I'll grab a marker. Grab the ruler. 6.5 inches is there, because I need to drill a 6.5 inch hole in there. Right then. Right, take the rings off this. And get drilling. there we finally have it, 6.5 inches. Right, get this out. Blow out in there. I think I've said this before, when you're drilling this Malaysian Acacia, it's quite tough, even though it's even though the tree suffers from shake quite a bit, the wood itself is actually quite dense. Alright, now that we've got that drilled out, right, I want to make that sit in there, but I need to widen out the end so it goes over that little collar. So I'm going to very carefully nibble away at that until that will slot inside this. As I keep saying, every time you're doing something like this, what you need to remember is that what you're taking off is actually double size. So if I take 1 mil off this side, I'm actually taking 2 mil off the whole thing. There we go. Right, that's tight enough. Right then, now I'll blow that out again. Now what I want to do is match them up. So I'll grab my live center. I haven't finished the bottom of this yet, but I'll take that off with a chisel so that it's flat. It's just a normal wood chisel. Put that in there. Bring the tailstock up. Hold it in place. Now I can finish the whole lot of the outside to the same width. Basically the same way you'd finish a box. Start it up. Start bringing this down. As I said, you can make the outside of these as fancy as you want. I just happen to like the plain look because it's pretty wood. If you wanted, you could turn this into kind of a pagoda box, or you could put a finial on top or a knob on top, whatever you wanted. Right, and I want to put another mark on this after I finish it, right, from there. So I want to go at least a ½ inch above that. That's where it ends inside. Just take any little bumps out of it. Right, Now I'm going to sand and finish the outside of that. So I'll do that and I'll be back in a sec. Right, now just buffing the wax off. Now, as I said about these, you can make these, the outsides of these, as fancy as you want. I just happen to like this plain shape with the fancy, with the nice wood. Like, you're not going to beat that. Now all I got to do is finish the base here. Right. Part it off and finish the top and sand the inside of this. Right. So I'll finish the base first. Grab some of my favourite farmer's tape. I like using this stuff because it sticks very well and it does not damage a finish. So just as I said, same as finishing the box, tape that on. Because what you're basically making is a box, it's just a box for a specific reason. So tape that on so it doesn't come flying. Get the knife back where it goes. Right, now take away the tailstock. I'll finish this base, and all I'm going to do is dish it slightly. So that it sits on the rim here. Look at that. Yeah, they're cut nice. Right, so I'm going to sand and finish that base. Then I'm going to sand and finish the inside, part it off, finish the top, and I'll give you a better look at it. So I'll do all that and I'll be back in a second. Right then, there we have it. It's a simple project to do. It's not short because of the amount of finishing you have to do, but it is a simple project, right? And you have a case. This one isn't as tight as the one I did for Alex. Comes off, and inside you have your rings stored. As I said, it's a lovely project to do. It's simple. It's the closest thing to turning by numbers for a nice project you can get. I might actually put that in the thumbnail. Right. But as I said, it's a nice project. It's not short, but it's simple. Right. There's nothing difficult about it. And they actually look quite nice. And as I said, you can do the outsides of those as complicated as you want. I happen to like that shape. So if you like that or got anything out of it, if you wouldn't mind clicking like on the video. And I'll see you in the next one.